Hi, you're tuned in to Mind Matter with Jannat. Over time, I intend to converse with a group of dynamic individuals across various professions and age groups. The idea is to have meaningful conversations centered around an array of topics concerning mental health with a strong focus on creating an impact. Today, we're here to talk about how young adults are turning to social media for validation. With me, I have Mandira Nath, a certified health coach, as well as my fellow classmate Ayesha Bakliwal. Would both of you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mandira Nath. I'm a mother of two teenage boys, and I'm also a certified health coach. I'm looking forward to your questions, Jannat. It's a very, very relevant topic, and it's something we're all battling with now, and it's almost like an epidemic of our generation. So the two things these years are going to go down for is COVID and social media addiction. Yeah. But looking forward to the chat ahead.
So I'm Ayesha Bakliwal. I study in the Shriram School, Moulsri, and I'm 17, and I'm currently doing the IB curriculum as well. So, yeah.
All right, so let's jump straight into it. What are your thoughts on social media as a whole before we go into the specifics?
So I think, as far as I'm concerned, considering the fact that I have two young teenage boys, I have an 18-year-old and I have a 14-year-old. And, I've observed the process. We've all been exposed to social media. For them, they were born, they're born in a certain generation where, for them, it's very normal. It's something that's always been there. But for us as parents, we've seen, a generation without social media. Now we've seen this generation which is exposed to social media so heavily, and it's such a big part of everyone's lives, adults as well as teenagers as well as the younger kids. So from our standpoint, because we've seen a world without it and a world with it now, we can see the changes it's bringing to human patterns. We can see the changes it's bringing to us as adults. Yeah. In our way of thinking, in our way of functioning in daily life. We can see the changes bringing to children's lives. So, it's got its pluses and its minuses. There definitely does have a lot of plus points as well. But the negatives far outweigh the positives. At least currently what we're living through and what we see happening, my take is that I think people don't understand balance. It's almost become an addiction of sorts. And it is an addiction for this generation. It is an epidemic of our times. It is an addiction for children in this generation. So the battle is, the tough thing, I think what everybody's struggling with is the addiction to social media and the anxiety and the depression and the mental health, setbacks it's causing in our generation. And I think that's why, this was such a lovely thing for you to do, is to put a talk like this together, because it's creating awareness for so many people.
Yeah. Aisha, as a teenager, what do you think of social media?
So I honestly agree with Mrs. Nath because, of course, I'm 17 and I've only seen social media come alive, I guess, in the last 10 years. And of course, me, all of my friends, we are on certain social media platforms, and we do, of course, we're always on our phones. We're quite addicted to social media, I would say. I think it is a problem. It's a huge issue because obviously now, through the pandemic and everything, I understand why it's more used, and I understand that it's more of a need. So, okay, I get that, but it is more of an issue now than it used to be earlier. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you. It is a double-edged sword. It definitely has plus points where we're able to connect with everybody, but at the same time, ma'am said, the balance is something that a lot of teenagers lack and aren't able to find. So now, do you think young adults seek validation on social media? And if you have seen it around, could you give us an example?
So, what I feel, Jannat, is that as a generation now, and this is not only pertaining to your generation, I see this happening with an equal number of adults my age who are in their 40s, some even in their 50s. But So I feel as a generation now and as a time, in history, I think we just, people have lost themselves. People are confused and lost. And that's not just the children, it's also the parents. And I see so many parents who are equally confused and lost. And because they're confused and lost, obviously the kids are also going to be, because the thing is, you need somebody to guide you, right? So, in a highly evolving, westernized world, we've lost our roots, we've lost our customs, we've lost our traditions, we haven't been paying attention to it, we've not been giving it its due importance or even trying to maintain it, right? And we're not trying to maintain it because, we want to catch up with the Western world and we want to do everything that the other side of the world is doing. So you're forgetting your roots, you're forgetting your Indianness, you're forgetting what you stand for. And that is why I feel so many people are lost, right? Because then you don't know who you are. Who are you really? So that's why I feel people are lost. And because they're lost, there is so much emphasis on external validation. So you're constantly looking for external validation because you want acceptance, you want to be liked, right? And you're living. And the thing is that validation is okay. But beyond a certain point, if you're only seeking so much external validation on a social media platform from people who don't know you, who don't care about you, they know nothing about you, and your entire well-being is dependent on how many likes you've gotten from somebody, or you're down in the dumps if you've been panned for something. So it just means obviously that you don't know who you are. There's the fact that people today are seeking so much external validation is that they're obviously not happy with themselves. If I was a happy person and happy with who I am, and I know what I stand for and what I like, what I don't like, what my beliefs are, I don't care what the world says, whether the world likes me, doesn't like me. It's no, because I have no control over that. I have no control over how somebody outside in the world chooses to see me or doesn't choose to see me. Can I control how somebody sees me, whether they like me or not? I don't. But what's important is how I see myself. So for your generation, so I think that's what's happening in your generation is everyone is building their sense of self-worth from external validation. How many likes you get. It's a world of filters where even if you're putting up a photograph of yourself, it's got to have 7 filters. So the blemishes are removed and this is removed and that is removed. And the thing is, but if you feel beautiful inside and you're happy how you have no problem projecting a perfectly decent, normal picture of yourself, But we always want to correct and fix things in ourselves. We don't like how we look. We want the world to perceive us in a certain way. So we're living in a world of filters. And then, what happens with this is your generation, particularly, we still somewhere know what we are because we've been brought up with some amount of tradition, customs, so we have some base as far as that goes. But for your generation, I think what you have to do is that build back your roots again, because that's what this external validation is doing. You're just constantly, your entire well-being is in the hands of other people who don't even know you, who don't care about you, and they're strangers outside, right? And so that's why I feel this external validation has just completely, it's just kind of skyrocketed, and people are just constantly living for that, which is extremely unhealthy.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel about, at least as far as this goes. That's why I think as a generation, that's what's happening.
No, I agree with you. I think a lot of people are so thirsty almost for wanting that external validation that, again, back to balance. It's, okay, obviously somebody may like your picture, they comment here or there, but to only post so that you get that validation is something that, is super unhealthy. And then that's all you can think about when you, post or something online. Initially, it was very free. Okay, like you could post a picture, you didn't care so much, but now it's like, okay, how many likes I've gotten, who has commented, what do they say about me, what do they think of me? And that sort of thing is where it becomes so unhealthy.
And also, more than validation, Jannat, we're living in a perceived world. We want people to perceive us in a certain way. So we'll put out certain pictures, or, that I holidayed here, I partied here, I stayed here. And that itself is something your generation must question, that why am I doing this? Why do I have to share every bit of my personal life with the world. Your personal life is personal. Personal means it's to yourself. Some things have to be kept sacrosanct, but the fact that I feel people need to share everything with the whole world is obviously, there's something lacking that you would want to do that. Of course, share, of course, connect. But like you said, it all comes down to balance and awareness. Those are the two key words in your generation: balance, and balance for everything, not just social media, whether it's drinking alcohol, whether it's social media, whether it's, excesses of anything. There's got to be a balance and living in awareness, which you're not with social media, because it's constantly reactive and you're always like reacting. So you're in a very reactive and impulsive mode. And, then you're not stopping and thinking. So,
Yeah. I think with validation now, we do come to the main point, which is how do we see social media affecting the teenager's mental health? Ayesha, as a teenager, how do you think, being on social media 24/7 is affecting people's mental health?
So, of course, we spoke about validation, and a lot of people, like, of course, like meeting people on social media, like that's a huge thing that's occurring right now, especially because of the pandemic. And I think that's a really good thing. And of course, like it was bound to happen. But I guess the toxicity comes in where, like, for example, like accounts are made public, hate comments are made, and then, like, of course, it does affect your mental health to some extent. Like, I am a victim of this. I have been cyberbullied. A lot of my friends have been cyberbullied. And of course, it does like mess with you in some sort of way, because you do feel degraded, you do feel upset, and it does sadden you, and it does affect your mental health. And that's what matters at the end of the day, because of course, like, you are on social media to uplift your mood. Sometimes you look at funny memes and posts, and it is like a hobby, I guess, like just going on social media, going through your Instagram feed, seeing all your friends' stories and everything. And that's what I guess makes you happy. It's a pastime. But when it becomes negative, when it, I guess, goes down that path, when people are cyberbullying, people are making rash comments, I think that's where things go awry. And that's why you do need to keep a balance. Like, you do need to have thick skin to be on social media 100%. Because if you, for example, like nowadays, like a lot of our friends, like a lot of people in other schools that we know are becoming social media influencers and are doing brand deals and everything. But what we don't know, or what isn't portrayed on social media, is that they are going to get a lot of hate for doing that. They are going to, of course, get bullied by their actual schoolmates. And that's what a lot of people don't see, a lot of people don't realize. And I guess that's what affects you at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. When we do post on social media, we don't see the behind the scenes of it. It's like those 5 seconds that you see, or that one picture you see, but it doesn't represent the hate that one might be getting. And like you said, it, again, like I've said many times, balance. If it is becoming negative, you need to pull back for yourself, because there's no point in putting yourself in that circle and, that rut. So for Mandira, how do you think, or like what advice would you give young adults concerning social media? I know we've spoken about balance, but do you have any sort of ways one could restore balance if they have, fallen off it a little bit?
So, I think the thing is to cultivate living in a certain sense of awareness. Now social media is going to be a part of our life, whether we like it or not, for years to come. It is an integral part. But the idea is to keep it. The idea is to keep it in check, keep it in balance, and keep it clean. So the other thing is, the more you expose your personal life and every aspect of your life on social media, you're opening yourself up to so many strangers. You don't need to do that. Now, I know there are settings where, you can limit your profile to the close friends as well as the strangers. But I'm just saying that one has to cultivate one needs, we live in such an external world and constantly looking for external stimulus, that I think as a generation now, with so much, everyone's leading such busy lives, there's so much pressure on academics, on school, on achievement, on, you've got to get ahead, you've got to get into a good college, then you're thinking about your work life. So there's a lot, there's a lot of pressure on you academically, you're ambitious, and it is a time to be ambitious and, raring to go and trying to pack in all that you can. But the only, like I said, coming back to balance and awareness, it's just keeping it in check. And you can only keep it in check is if you learn to live with awareness every day. You have to learn to live in a state of awareness every day. And that awareness, if you live in a state of awareness, and awareness means that now it could be anything. It could be social media. It could be going out and partying a certain number of days a week. Now, if I'm aware, if I'm going out 5-6 days a week, I can either just live on a minute-to-minute basis, make a plan in the evening, go out at night, wake up, survive on like 5 hours of sleep, wake up, roll into class, do my work, roll into some tuition. You can either live like that on a minute-to-minute basis, or live in a certain sense of with awareness that, okay, I didn't need to be out 5 nights a week last week. I could have definitely just been out 2 nights a week, and I could have had a great time with my friends. The 5 nights was excessive. I didn't need to do that. So I should have kept meeting my friends to 2 nights a week. I should have exercised so many days. I should have finished this project, which had this deadline, and I could have accomplished so much towards my revision. So if you live in awareness, everything will get balanced, because you'll be aware that, hey, I think I'm devoting too much time to this and my routine's getting lopsided. So whether it's partying, whether it's drinking, you can have 2 drinks a night, or you can have 10 drinks a night. So it's living in awareness. You're still having fun, but you're aware that, look, I don't need to have those 8 extra drinks. I can have 2 drinks and have an equally good time. I need to wrap up, say, by 2:00, So whether it's that, whether it's going out, whether it's drinking, whether it's excessive time on social media. So when you wake up and just clock in those hours on Instagram or Facebook, that tells you how much time you've spent on it in a week. So if you're aware, you say, oh my God, I've spent 7 hours of the day today on this. So if you're aware, you realize, what, I didn't need to, I wasted those 7 hours. I could have just, scroll through your page, use it for entertainment, use it to connect with friends, but stick to it. Say, I'm not going to spend more than 2 hours a day, So even if it's like picking up a bad habit, so if people want to smoke, I'm sure, people are going to experiment. It's a rites of passage. So it is going to happen. And I'm not judging anyone, it's things that we went through it in our times. I'm sure people are going to want to try. They're going to try, and they will try a cigarette. They will try a drink. They will try other things. That's human nature. It's curiosity. You will try it, but be aware of the repercussions. Be aware of what you're doing. Ask yourself that question, what I'm doing, is it good for me, or is it bad for me? Is it good for my health, or is it bad for my health? That's all awareness is that you're not, just living on a minute-to-minute basis in a robotic mode, in an autopilot mode. That's what I want for your generation. And that I don't want people to live in an autopilot mode where you're just functioning without thinking and just reacting, right? So it's a very simple thing to do. So just try and build, I think, a little bit of awareness in, just stop. And all you can do is, if you just stop and count 10 seconds, like whatever you're doing, just stop, take 5 seconds out, count 5, and then look, or count 10 seconds, then look at what you're doing. Automatically you'll get your answer, and then it becomes like a defense mechanism. It builds into your nature, and then it just happens automatically. But a little bit of exercise and awareness and balance is what is needed. And once that is there, I'm sure this can be kept in check too,
Thank you so much for that. I think with teenagers, like Ayesha and I both can agree, balance is needed. There are techniques in which we can ensure that we do have a healthy relationship with social media. That includes our phone, laptops, anything where you have to, like you said, take 10 seconds, look at it. And we have so many other things to do as well. Our lives right now aren't on social media. Like you said, we have college applications coming, all of that. So I think it's important to prioritize and know that right now social media is we do have.
So just question, like whatever you're doing, whatever it is, not only social media, whatever you're doing, just question yourself, just be aware. What am I doing and why am I doing it? Because why you're doing it, you'll have an end goal, and you'll know if what you're doing at that moment is actually helping your end goal or is taking you away from your end goal,
Yeah, so to prioritize, think long term essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
Any of you have any other final thoughts to share?
I think I pretty much said it all. Ayesha, what about you?
I think honestly, balance is key. Of course, we've just been talking about balance. And as a teenager, we are like, I'm in the 12th grade, and we do have lots of things to think about right now, and social media is not a priority. But of course, like you do take time, like in a day, you do take around maybe 2 3 hours. You do talk to your friends, you do, scroll on all the apps and everything. So, and I think that's fine, but as long as you do have an inkling of what you're doing, you do have like the idea of time management that is there, I think it's okay. But yeah, I think however it does have its benefits, but again, as Mrs. Nath said, the disadvantages do outweigh the benefits, I'd say as well.
And I also feel that, like what in our generation, what cigarette smoking is to lungs is what social media today is to your mental health. It is a kind of cancer of sorts, right? Because social media harms your mental health. Cigarette smoking harms your lungs. It's always a choice people have. Nobody can sit there and be preachy and say, don't do this, don't do that. It's okay, but it's your choice. I think what you have to do is always choose to either engage with it. It's your choice. Cigarettes have been around. A lot of my friends smoke. I did try it when, after college and when I was working and, in the early years of my marriage. But then I just said, what am I doing? I'm harming my health because, as a family, we're very into fitness, into health, working out. I'm a squash player. So I said, what am I doing? Why do I need to do this? And you have to tell yourself, I'm not going to be any less cooler if I don't have a cigarette in my hand. I'm going to be, I'm harming my lungs. I'm harming my health. You wake up with that awful scratchy feeling in your throat. So you just have to, if you don't engage with it, it's your choice. Like if you choose not to engage with a cigarette or with a certain thing that's harmful for you, similarly, like with social media, you engage with it up to a certain point, and that choice always has to be yours, that I choose not to engage with it beyond a certain point. Because, the minute you cross over to that excessive point of engagement, again, you're opening up there's going to be so many people, there are going to be so many strangers entering that space, saying things you like, saying things you don't like, and it's going to take up space in your head, and you don't want to do that to yourself. So that's what I feel, that social media to our mental health is what cigarette smoking is to our lungs. Because ultimately it's your life. Nobody else is going to come and pick you up when you're in pieces, and nobody's going to come and help lift you. It's all you. So when one is in shambles, it's not like those 1,000 friends out there who gave you 2,000 likes are really going to be there for you in your time of need. So for you, your self-preservation, self-love, self-care, which means taking care of your physical body, of your mental health, is so important. So a little discipline, a little balance has to be there. And honestly, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's just a little mental discipline that, yes, enjoy every part of your life. You can enjoy every aspect of your life, but learn to keep that checkout time, that, okay, at this point, I'm going to check out, and stick to that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about self-actualization. It's not like about other people. And it's just like, think about yourself first. That's all.
Yes, absolutely. You don't need, it doesn't matter. And that's the other thing. Like I tell my, when my younger son, Rivan, was growing up and in their I remember Jessel and you guys are the same batch. Rivan's batch is like, 4 years ahead. And I remember, I can see the class, I can see the difference, that his peer group are just so much more advanced and so much more aware than even your generation was when you were that age. And I keep telling Rivan, I said, you don't need to justify yourself to people, right? You don't owe, as long as you know what you stand for, you don't need to, like I said, you don't need to, the same, it boils down to that same external validation point, it doesn't matter how people see you, because that is not in anyone's control. How somebody chooses to see me, whether she likes me, whether she doesn't like me, no matter what I do, that's not in my control. So I'm not going to bother about that. How somebody else sees me is not, it shouldn't matter to me, or it's not important, because I have no control over it. So, but what is most important is how I see myself, and and how you see yourself. And that's the only thing we can keep moving forward. That's what I always told Rivan, whether you're in nursery or you're an adult in the world, functioning out there in a corporate job, it's how you see yourself. If you're sorted on that front, then you're okay. Curveballs come in life. Life will throw curveballs at everyone, but you'll be able to handle it because you know who you are and what you stand for. So these are small steps, just building your own belief system and knowing who you are, loving what you love about yourself, what you stand for, the values you stand for, the belief you have in yourself. These are things that I feel are very, very important.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think the main things we did discuss today were balance, awareness, and definitely self-love. And I hope whoever's listening to this is able to pick up on those points and take those 10 seconds to just look at their phone and realize, okay, this is maybe not what I need right now, and be able to create that balance for yourselves. Thank you both so much for your time. And
thank you, Jannat.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.